Hello everyone, it's Lennon. Welcome back to the channel. Today we talking about TarotTube, okay? So, I want to do this tag by my friend Rachele over at Amethyst Ascension. Rachele has come out with this tag about TarotTube, what it's about, what's community, yada yada yada. And I've been kind of reflecting on it since it came out. And then I had recently watched TL Daphne's VR, and it just kind of making me think about TarotTube as a whole, and then like my role in it and everything. So I've been reflecting on it, and I've got the prompts printed out so I could go over it. And the weird thing about tag stuff, like where there's actual prompts, actual questions, is that I'll ruminate on like the topic, but I won't look at the questions so that I'm not like hunkering down and focusing too hard. So I want to kind of make this a little bit more authentic and organic. And I don't know, but this might end up being one of those occult tea tag things where it's like tarot tea. And right off the rip, I want to say that my tarot practice was like in the last 6 months, man. Just like, where are you, tarot? Why can't I find you? So anyway, let's get started, okay? I got my tarot deck over here. We'll do the tarot spread together later on, okay? So, first question, what originally drew you into the tarot community? Weirdly enough, I was already on like TarotTube as an observer, right? Like I was commenting all the time and watching a whole bunch of videos. And I'll see back in my day, when I was just an observer and not a creator, a content creator, so much of TarotTube was unboxings, you know, general unboxings and teaching. So some of the first creators that I ever came across that drew me into TarotTube were like Kelly from The Truth and Story, Simon at the Hermit's Cave, Kellyanne, Avalon Cameron, those kinds of people, right? Now there's I think most of them, except for Truth and Story. I don't know where she went. Kelly Fitzgerald. And then Kelly Bear too, Miss Kelly Bear. She was on there. And all of them kind of talked about tarot, right? And I was kind of like in the mix and trying to talk about tarot. And at that point I was still kind of new to tarot, yada, yada, yada. But what originally drew me to tarot was that I had fallen in love with Thoth as like a system, right? Like if you think about the systems of tarot, there's Rider-Waite-Smith, there's Thoth, and there's Marseille. Well, so many of these content creators that I had found were Marseille or Rider-Waite-Smith. There weren't a lot of Thoth people. And I had already loved Thoth. That was like my, Thoth's been my, my girl for a long time. And so there had been a new person that had come about right before I started. And that was Natalia over at the Tarot Shrink channel. What is now Tarot Shrink. It used to be another name. And she was talking about Thoth. And like she would get philosophical and psychological with it because she's a psychologist. And I fell deep down the rabbit hole of, oh my God, there's somebody out there that loves Thoth. And because of the reactions she would get from other people, like, okay, not a lot of people know Thoth. Not a lot of people like Thoth, like not a lot of people use Thoth. Like they don't even care. And I cared. And so I had actually had a conversation with Natalia about this, and she was like, just do a channel. Like, do a channel. So I did. And my first couple of videos were, and I came into TarotTube to be a TarotTube YouTuber. Like that was my goal. I was just come in and just talk about tarot and talk about Thoth mainly. And so I had come up with the concept of Thoth Thursdays, which is really big now. And I started talking about Thoth, and I started my YouTube channel going into it, wanting to talk about Thoth, wanting to teach Thoth, wanting to give a lot of public service announcements about Crowley and about, like, look, at the end of the day, this is 78 cards, okay? It's nothing to be scared of. right? Like, I had to give a lot of, PSAs about that. And I did. And I went through and did a lot of teaching of the Thoth. And I'm so proud of my Thoth videos because Thoth had taught me so much that I wanted to like relay, So all my Thoth Thursday videos are still up, still kicking it and everything. And then the channel kind of like over the years, it just kind of morphed into my other interests. You know how it is. And, which is, I love it. But coming into TarotTube, it was mainly about Thoth. And it was mainly about like, I want to get in on this, Damn, I could talk about this all day. Because I love it. Because I love being part of the niches that I occupy in this space as a content creator. And then all of the relationships that I have blossomed out. Because see, when I was an observer thinking and using Thoth, then I met Natalia. And then we kind of talked and she was like, just start a channel and talk about Thoth. I was like, so then it just became a thing. And then I met a couple of other people that really loved Thoth too. And we just like blossomed together. So we all found our like common love. And that's what it's all about. That was what it was all about. Is that we all are coming together under this common love, which is tarot. And I just loved that. And then like the rest is history, Okay, second question. Only the second question. Oh my God. What has being part of TarotTube taught you about yourself? Well, it taught me a lot that I have more self-control than I thought I did. Because I could have 300 decks. Now, I had to have some self-control because I don't have the space, like the storage space. I don't have the space at all, really, for tarot. So I had to have some self-control, and I learned that it was okay. It was okay to have some self-control. It was okay to garner my collection to me instead of anyone else, and how I didn't really want to, compare myself to anyone else. And I just wanted to have a tarot practice that was for me. And so I learned a lot about my limits and what I was willing to do in terms of my collection, But then also in like the wider TarotTube community way, what am I, a lot of us talk about ethics. A lot of us talk about like what you're willing to do when you read for yourself, what you're not willing to do when you read for yourself, what you're willing to do and not for when you're reading for others. And I mean, for most of my tarot practice, I don't read for others. Like I don't even read for family and friends because they don't even know I'm into this, So like I'll occasionally read for my sister, but that's like random, like blue moon random. And so yeah, I don't really read for anyone else. So then like I have to think about what I'm willing to put into a conversation that's happening in the wider community that I might not be privy to. I can let the other people that read for others and they have a little bit more ethics involved in that. I can step back. It's okay to step back and let them have the microphone, And so I kind of had to learn some boundaries around certain conversations because I didn't want to be one of those that had an opinion about everything, even though I didn't ever experience this XYZ. So I learned a lot about my limits. And on YouTube anyway, you're putting your face out here to the whole internet, At the end of the day, you got to have some kind of boundaries. But then also know the socialism behind all that and like trusting people. Like, for instance, one of the top things that I was the most scared about when I first started getting some kind of parasocial relationships with people is that you'd have to give them your address because I don't have a PO box, right? So one of the scariest things was like someone was like, "Hey, I want to send you a deck for your birthday," and I'm like, free deck? Do I tell this stranger I've never seen in my life my address, like my actual address? That was one of the scariest things I did when like having a YouTube channel and then like thinking you've got this friend over in like the other side of the country and they want to send you this free deck and you're like, God, I need a PO box. Like that is kind of scary, but I pushed past those things and you kind of learn who you can trust and who you can't. You just like trust your instincts with that kind of stuff. That was one of the scariest things about being like part of the wider community, I guess you could say. What moments made you feel most connected? I think, see, the way I do YouTube is that when I film a video, like right now, I'm thinking of all of your faces and your names that pop up. Like I call them my regulars, like I'm in a diner or something. The people that comment on my videos a lot, I call them my regulars, but then also the content creators that are in the community, I see all y'all's faces. Like we're sitting in a room together. Everybody, not even if they don't watch my videos, I'm talking to you guys. And it helps form that like shield, or it takes away the shield that I'm just talking to the ether, you know, like I'm talking to some kind of blank space right here. It helps me to feel more authentic. Like I'm just having a chat here in the living room and all y'all are sitting on my couch, you know? And so that's how I approach making videos. And so feeling connected is being able to see all of your faces and then seeing all of your like little avatar names. That helps. And that helps me feel connected. It feels like, you know, there is actually someone there, you know, instead of just void. But I think one of the first times I felt connected, and it's a little controversial now, was when Avalon and Anna Turin were making the Bone Stone. Okay. What is it now? 10 damn years ago? Okay. They were doing the deck, and Anna was drawing the deck as Avalon was like prompting her. And they were making it in these live streams, right? So I was in these live streams with a whole bunch of people. Actually, Emily over at Emily's Witchcraft and Tarot, I think that's her channel name. I always get confused, but Emily. Me and her were in the chat, and we would always like have the same opinions about what goes where and everything. And me and her would get into it about like the cards and stuff. And it was nice because this was even before we had channels. Now we both have channels, which is cool. So we were like together like back in the day, you know, and that live, those like year long, like it took them a year or something to make the deck, and Anna was drawing them, and we were all in those lives together, like building this deck. Then it ended up taking like 5 years to come out, and so we were all like, well, you had us for a little while and then you lost us. Now I know that some stuff like that can't be helped, but I felt really connected then. You know, when you guys now, like the community now, we have a lot of lives where we're all kind of getting together. We're all kind of chatting in real time with each other. That makes me feel connected, even though I rarely have lives, and I must not be doing it right. I must not be doing it right, because every time I've gone live, I've gotten like 3 or 4 people in there max. So I don't know what I'm doing. I can't ever end up getting like a whole bunch of people. You know, like 20 people. I can't ever get like 20 people in my lives. So it always falls flat for me. But the community at large, we have a lot of lives, and that's what keeps us connected, because we're talking in real time, you know? We're asking questions in real time, and we're getting to know people. So I think in general, talking, commenting, you know, hey, how are yous kind of thing, those go a long way in parasocial relationships, because then you learn who you're wanting to get to know on deeper levels too, which is always hard for me because I got a busy ass life, you know, and it's hard because I'm like, damn, I want to get to know these people. I want to get to know all these people. I want to get to know all these people. And it's like, but damn, I'm never even going to see them in real life, you know? And it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to shift, you know, the focus from home life, day-to-day life, and then knowing somewhere in your head that you've got a friend that lives over in like Minnesota or Pennsylvania or something that you could call up, maybe, right? So it's kind of hard. It's been hard for me. But again, I feel connected when we're connecting. What lessons have helped you grow, even the uncomfortable ones? I don't know about uncomfortable lessons when it comes to tarot tubes. I just know YouTube. And I know the algorithm has been a teetotal freaking bitch. When I started my channel, okay, there wasn't much of a tarot tube. So I stayed at like 65 subscribers for 3 years. 3 years. I started out having hardly anyone on my channel. And then it must have been one video, my Tree of Life video for my Thoth, that kind of blew me out, and it had me people were like, people were shouting me out. That's what happened. Nobody was shouting me out in the beginning because there wasn't much of a community then. And the community has blossomed so much now that we're all able to shout each other out and help each other grow, right? Like, hey, check this person out, check this person out. But back then, there wasn't much of a community to do that. And so my lessons is about like, growth can come naturally. I could pay for growth. Okay. I don't even know how, but I think you can. Stuff like that. Like, the uncomfortable lesson for me was I'll grow when I grow. More, I was making what I thought was such cool videos that would be like for everyone that did tarot, for everyone that was into witchcraft or whatever. And I'd be like, this is a fire video. And then like, it would get no engagement, right? So the algorithm's been the uncomfortable lesson for me, that it's been like harsh lessons. And I mean like every video I would come out and be like, I love this. I love that I did this. And then I get like one person comment. And then I would sit there for days and I'd be like, what is happening? Why didn't anyone care? But it wasn't about the people. It wasn't about the people, It was about this algorithm over here that didn't like me because I wasn't doing what it wanted me to do when it wanted me to do it. And so that's been some lesson too. Because it's really about the YouTube world, not just TarotTube. We're like a really small blip in the two YouTubes. I don't really think that there's a Mr. Beast tarot person. Maybe there is somewhere. I don't know who it is. And then some of the lessons on being on TarotTube too, and on YouTube, the whole sphere is about the hierarchy. Thinking that the people with more subscribers than you, just like the occult T tag, we talked about this too. Like, does it mean that person's more knowledgeable than you, has got more experience than you, that has better videos than you? It doesn't mean any of that. It just means that this person's worked hard to get there, right? And it doesn't mean that I haven't worked hard. It just means that we've worked hard in different stages, in different ways, I guess. But those have been some lessons too, is that thinking that the person over here that's got way more subscribers than me, like, they probably feel like outcasts too, because they were so high up. They feel like they never get invited to the lives. They never get invited to the symposiums and the panels. They never get they never get comments from the other people, right? They maybe feel like outcasts. And then the really small ones feel like outcasts too, because they can't push through to where their videos are getting seen by anyone, right? So it's really like this push and pull, and it's been hard. It really has been hard. Like, for now, I've been sitting at the same subscriber count for about 2 years now. Yeah. I don't know what to do to push it over some kind of edge to where people can actually start hitting the subscribe button. I don't know what to do. Now, my husband seems to think it's because I haven't monetized my channel yet. So YouTube's like, I don't give a shit. Like, YouTube itself doesn't even give a crap about me because they're not making any money off of me, right? So he was like, you just need to monetize. Again, I don't know if that'll be a thing. What does the tarot community feel to you? How does the tarot community feel to you right now? It feels a lot more connected than it used to. Like I said, back when I started, the community was so small. And what we did in the community was so limited. Like I said, it was walkthroughs and it was teaching videos. Come to think of it, I still have one of Kelly from the Truth and Stories videos of how to learn the numerical way to read Marseille, because that system still just, I still have that video from like 10 years ago in my watch later list. Like, eventually I'll watch it, but the community has changed because we're talking about so much more. Like, I remember when I did this tag and a lot of people in the community participated of what is a soul, right? And it was a tarot spread. And God, that was so much fun because we were talking about such deep questions. Usually when we talk about tarot and it's in a teach capacity or it's in a walkthrough capacity or it's in a what's coming out, or a declutter or whatever. Like, we're doing so much more. We're decluttering, we're hauling stuff, we're getting stuff from all the major companies. So many more people are making tarot decks now. Like indie, like they're making, well, like me, I'm making tarot decks, and then other people are making tarot decks, and it's not just about the mass market anymore. There's way more Kickstarters now, which can have its own problems, okay, to have like this overabundance of stuff coming out. But truly, the community wasn't about that back then. We've grown. We've come a long way, baby. You know, we're talking so much more about tarot in other ways, in more ways, in blossoming ways. And we're talking about how we use our decks. I was planning on, actually before this tag came out, I was planning on making a tarot video about the wounds that I have on certain cards and how I interact with these wounds. Like, oh, so many people see this card as a blank, but I don't. And that's a wound of mine, right? And so I was planning on making that. And it's like, I have too, but the whole community has grown into this. We want to talk about the real, how tarot is helping us in real life, not just in this like surface level stuff, you know, like, oh yeah, that's a beautiful card. This is beautiful art. This is beautiful cardstock. This is a beautiful box. Look at this book, how big this book is. We're talking about so much more now in general about tarot and what it's doing for us in life, you know? And I think that's how we've grown. So, okay, that's the end of the questions. Now the tarot. Now, because I've been talking about him, I got my trusty thoth out, okay? And I just want to shuffle. You know, so many of us are using our tarot decks in videos now too. That's another big change. Back then, it was, if we were talking about tarot, we were doing flip throughs and we were talking about like our opinions about the cards and all of that. And it was very like card by card kind of a way, teaching. But now we're talking about how we're using tarot to journal, how we're using tarot in our other practices and our spiritual practices. I think we've really blossomed out into what tarot can be instead of what everyone thought tarot was. It was like this superficial hat that we used to wear, when now it's become this real tangible tool, and we're inspiring other people that this can be just a tool for you. You know, you can journal with it, you can draw with it, you can use it to help form questions for yourself and prompts for yourself for pre-therapy sessions. Use it to feel out certain situations at work or at school or wherever, you know, like we're using it in life. We're actually coming out with ways that the tarot can become a better tool. When it probably was back then, we just weren't talking about it. So the community has really blossomed into the potentiality of tarot, I guess you could say. So, tarot reflections. There's 3 questions: the past, the present, and the integration. Because we're gonna, I think Rachele said that we're gonna do like a part 2 of like what we want the tarot tube to look like in the future, you know? So, we're gonna integrate instead of go into the future, because that's later. That's later. The future is later. So, the past, what has the tarot tube or the tarot community, God, I can't read. What has the tarot community taught me so far? So the community, TarotTube itself and the community therein, what has it taught me? And this is probably like a general question. It's best to have general questions with the tarot, I think, so you can expand in your own way. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. Stare off into space. Okay. Ooh, the Queen of Cups. Look at that. Queen of Cups. This is such a nice card. See, this is about her, like, she's so hidden. And it's about her reflection. And how it's really about protecting yourself. Because, and then, like, the reflection is what you want to project. What you want to show people. And that's all about that's all about what the Tarot Tube and being on YouTube in general has taught me. Is that I could be an open book. I could really be just an open book. Tell everyone my problems and my strengths and my weaknesses, and I could say all of it, okay? And be one of the weird people in TarotTube. But I don't. And what I've learned being on TarotTube is that I can be authentic and show my true colors in more subtle ways. I don't have to be this righteous open book to be authentic. I can say a little and have a deep impact. And it's really about protecting myself and my energy and my emotional capacity. And then share the essence of those things. I can share the essence, and I can share how the problems and my strengths and my weaknesses have led me down this path and led me to a certain conclusion. But I don't have to say it all. I can protect this space. I can protect myself and just share in an authentic way the core, you know, the essence and the core. I don't have to tell it all. So that's a really good, God, that's a really good card. Because Thoth never lets me down. Okay, next question. What is the current energy of my relationship with TarotTube? Current relationship. My relationship with it. Actually, because like I was saying in the beginning, because, see, at the beginning of 2025, I changed my channel around because I was making videos in a sporadic way, like whenever I would get inspired. But I decided to be the algorithm's bitch and only post on Sundays. So that took out Thoth Thursday, that took out my Tarot Tuesday videos, that took out my Witchy Wednesday videos, because I was only kind of posting randomly, but those days were how I would form, oh, this Wednesday I'll do witchy something. And I was like, no, I'll only post on Sundays and just do what I feel in the moment. So I don't know, it's one of those things. But now that I've done that, I feel like tarot's taken a real, because I've had so many ideas about the other niches that tarot seems to have taken a back seat. And I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like less a part of the community now that I've stopped posting tarot videos so much. I don't know. Okay. Woo! Look at this. Court cards galore. Okay. The Knight of Fire. Which is, I guess you could consider this the King of Wands. But look how glorious he looks. Just look how out there. And you know, I'm a wand. I'm really the Princess of Wands, really. But having this come up in terms of my relationship it just feels like I'm all in it. I'm all in it, and I'm willing to do the do to stay in it. And this is telling me that no matter what anyone else thinks, I still consider myself very much a part of the community. And I'm blasting my way through, just like doing this tag. It's been so long since I did a tarot video. I don't even remember when the last one is. But I knew that I'm part of the community and I'm just going to blaze right through. And I guess in a way, in some kind of compulsive way, this is telling me that I might be... It might be glaringly and blaringly and blazingly, with all this fire, obvious that I'm trying to prove myself in the community, which could have its own disadvantages. But maybe this is saying that when the opportunity arises, I want to plant myself and just like throw myself into the deep end, and as a way to prove that I am part of the community. Oh, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I'm doing tarot videos now to just prove that I'm still doing tarot, that I still love tarot. Like, why would I have to prove anything? Wow. Okay. Next question. I'll journal about that later. The integration. What lesson am I meant to carry forward? So, we're integrating, you know, like, if the art card comes up, the temperance card in the thought, I will gasp really loud. Integration. What lesson am I meant to carry forward? Carry forward into the tarot tubes. Does that mean like my relationship? How am I going to... What am I meant to bring to the community? Or what is the community meant to bring me? What are we meant to bring each other? Are we going to grow together? God, am I overthinking this? Okay, just pulled the card. Wow, adjustment. Okay. Okay. You know, this is all about the balance. Adjustment isn't really adjustment. It's about keeping the balance, which is adjustment. But it's also the justice card in a lot of ways too, because it is in any other system. But Crowley wants us to know that everything in life is going to be tipping the scales. And it's just about like, if it's all on my decisions, you know, are my decisions going to hoist the tarot tube into some kind of future? Am I going to keep doing what I'm doing? Or am I going to tip the scales one way or the other? And I'm going to continue to blaze through and just do what I want. Trying to keep the balance of oversharing versus, well, not versus, but oversharing and authenticity and stuff. So, I love that this, like if this was on a table, I love the blue framing the fire. Okay. So like if I were, like I said, if this was a spread and I was laying these three cards out, it would be blatantly obvious to me that this blue, this emotional color, this subdued, color of love and connection and serenity. This color is framing this fire coming through the middle. And like I said, this very feels, I've been getting volcano vibes from this. And how I'm blasting through and the lava is just going to spew out everywhere. Is that how the community is? Is that what's going on? Are we just all putting out fires and our love and our connection is what's going to hold this village together? Frame it. Our love for tarot is going to frame the community. No matter what's going on in the community, we need to band together. Continue to band together. And that hurts me too, because sometimes I've tried to pull back from the community and try to be so solitary. But I want the connection. I want to stay inside the frame. I want to be part of the frame. So I think that the community at large, if we could hold space, continue to hold space for each other and the people that watch our videos, and continue to inspire people and inspire people to pick up decks, inspire people to, and not like 300, okay? We're not trying to talk anybody into spending their life savings. We're trying to talk them into using it as a tool, using it as a way to get in touch with your body and your mind and your soul. Teach people how to read tarot in these open-minded ways. And in the community, if we're open-minded and not so severe, and we're a little bit more authentic, but not oversharing, we'll frame the community and build this community. And it can build up like the volcano or like a mountain. I don't want to say a volcano. That sounds really like we're wanting to hurt people. by making this volcano. So we're going to build a mountain. We're going to be tectonic plates. We're going to frame it, and then it's going to be building up. Does anyone else see that? I don't know if I must be rambling. Anyway, I want to thank Rachele. God, I've been talking for so long. Don't you just hate that little timer at the top? And you're like, oh my God. You know, you come on, you plan on spending 15 minutes on a video. Oh, anyway, I'm glad I did it. So, part of the frame, baby, part of the frame. I want to thank Rachele for doing this tag. And I want to encourage and inspire other people in the community. We're building this frame, people, okay? Building this frame. Let's talk about it. And if you, like me, if you want to talk about some problems you've had being part of the community, we're here for you. If you want to talk about your elations, your griefs, your encounters with the grifters of the community, like, we're here for you. Don't be afraid to tell us how it's been for you, because that's how we're going to band together and build a better community. And that way, if we're all really trying to get on the same page and in the same boat with this tarot tube, we can inspire other people and bring other people into the community too. So I don't know, that's my advice. So anyway, I want to thank Rachele. I'm surprised more people haven't gotten on this bandwagon though. So I want to, you know, tag all people that are watching this. And if you comment on a lot of tarot videos and you don't have a channel, what are some views of these questions from you? You know, because the content creators have that opportunity to make the tag. So, but if you don't, then let us know your thoughts too. So anyway, okay, rambling enough. I hope everyone has a great day. Get out your tarot deck and shuffle it, people. Much love.